Okay, we are live. These 5 minutes were super long this time. Welcome, welcome. How are you, Ayush?
I'm good. How are you? Felt like
Good,
forever.
good. Yes, yes, yes. Long 5 minutes. Don't know why. Maybe it's because of the March community call. We are actually closing up the quarter soon. ECC is starting next week, so there is a lot of things that we want to cover. And welcome everyone to this monthly end of the month MetaMask community call. And we're excited to have a lot of things happening. So that's great. Let's jump in. Let me share the screen. Any highlights of the month, Ayush? Are you excited about this community call?
I'm excited. There are a lot of updates coming out that other hosts will be talking about. But other two updates that I want to talk about is the hackathon with the EF that we did and the X402
Oh
support
yeah,
with 7710 schema, which is a game changer, I believe.
oh yes. I definitely think my highlights, especially the past weekend, was the synthesis. There were a bunch of agents actually building the last 2 3 days, and I think the fact that there is 700-800 plus submission. Basically, agents built by human is super interesting to see. Also, how everything is structured. The entire judging process is first handled by agent. And I need to tell you, the first round was actually very interesting, especially for our submission. Osabot is doing an amazing job of criteria. I don't know if you saw a little bit how he's
Just for
judging,
today.
but it's super interesting.
So the first round was the light judge where it didn't go through the code base, but today it
Mhm.
started doing the deep reviews of the code base, and the scores have been dropping from 77 to 30 where the code implementation is not correct. And I'm like, okay, we need this for our dev cook-off as well because it reduces a lot of time consuming to check the code bases and implementation. So pretty good to have agents support there as well.
Yes, 100%. I think agent to the rescue, and I think especially for the first round of judging, this is super instrumental for code review, especially. There is a lot of submission in general that have been kind of copy pasted, and we know kind of all the tricks. But I think having the agent actually cross checking those libraries is super important. Okay, let's
So
do it. So, welcome everyone to this monthly community call. We have a lot of things to cover. Let's jump in on our agenda. We have main two section today, so we will do a quick intros for anybody that never been in a community call before, just kind of an housekeeping and why we're doing these calls. Then we actually invited a really great partner, One Shot, giving a spotlight around the delegation power agent and apps. We'll have top presenting with Matthew and Charlie, also asking and answering some questions. And again, if you have any questions, always feel free to jump in the chat, ask those questions. We can highlight them, and let's just make sure that those questions are relevant to the section. I think that's super important. And then we have our last part of the community call, and we will speak about MetaMask Connect. So I don't want to give a lot of highlights. Exactly what you said. We launched something interesting, and we will have here Shabazz and Adam giving some updates, running through some slides, and actually showcasing live some part of this launch. And it's exciting. Let's hope the demo gods will be with us this time too. And yeah, any highlights, any interesting section that you're looking forward to, Ayush? What do you think?
I think I'm looking forward to the connect as well because it's gonna be game changer how you can connect multiple ecosystems with a single connect SDK. Even if you want to connect with Solana, EVM, or other Bitcoin in
Yes.
future when we support it in the extension and stuff. So it would be great to know how to use the SDK and what are the super powerful features.
Yes. Yeah, especially now that we repowered, reiterated on the entire docs, there are much more also LLM friendly, agent friendly. There is a lot of updates, and just to speak on this is super exciting. Okay, let's dive in. If anybody has any question, always feel free to ask in the chat. we will actually like highlight them. Also, like for the people that were asking, we're always getting this type of like questions. This session is obviously recorded. You will see also like live stream a little bit everywhere, and you actually like can see it in both X and YouTube. Let's hope that there is no down like since today on X new algos. So let's see how this experiment will go on. And obviously, like our door is always open. If you hear some speaker, we're also sending some email and documentation and links after the call. So always like feel free to send any messages in Telegram to the speaker presenting. And also like we have builder apps that we launched a couple of months ago. Great traction and a lot of questions are being asked on different like developer tooling, but also if you want to kind of like learn how to build something, even like the skills that I usually like we submitted, like it was very interesting bunch of agents already like going on Builder Hub and checking those out. So always feel free to use Builder app and reach out if there is anything. Sounds good. So let's dive in. So why are we doing those calls, right? Obviously, these are not just one-way calls. The goal here is to be really like on the ground with the community. It doesn't matter if you're at conference. It doesn't matter if you're always like chronically online or on crypto Twitter. The goal here is to provide updates. To give actually like exposure to dApps and partners and ecosystem members. So we're inviting a lot of like hackathon winners, a lot of interesting dApps. They are not just leveraging our products, but also like building something cool in the ecosystem. So it's a way for everyone to kind of like showcase what they're working on, but also like a way for the community, for everyone, for founders, even for agent probably in the future, asking actually question in the chat. And I think the way that we're doing it is very kind of like hands-on. Everybody here can just jump in, ask questions, and we are just very excited to also like share different updates and what we've been shipping, what we are shipping, what we're working on, even some like developer alphas. Sounds good. Anything else I'm missing here, Ayush?
I think we should invite the Austin's agent to the community call. Like you can like pay for the Austin's agent via X402 API, and it has basically like 11 labs like voice built in.
That's so
So like
cool.
you can like interact with like actual like Austin and get like your queries or any questions resolved. So pretty good to have like something similar for the OSO bot as well. So like we can have Ryan anytime we want on the community call.
That will be cool. I saw it like actually today. Did you test actually like how is Austin's voice? Is he
No,
actually? I don't know. I'm actually like wondering now if you're getting actually spicy question, how will be the answer? But the fact that we have 24 hours like every day, like Austin kind of like support on an hackathon is actually quite strong.
you should do a panel with the Austin's bot on like the BN.
Look,
That would be
yeah,
super
that's
cool.
true. That's true. I mean,
A
at
10
least
minute
it's not
session.
like seven different note takers in the call, and then you kind of like feel alone, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, sounds good. So a couple of like highlights here. For the MetaMask ambassador right now here in this call, for everybody that participating in a community builder night, you probably know what is happening. But we basically like spun out a builder night for the community called Community Builder Night, and everyone in the community, MetaMask ambassadors, can actually build their own meetup and talk about different things, from like developer to kind of like user. Basically like the kind of like there is no limits, right? And the cool thing is that every week is always like the momentum is increasing. Like I think like this week like there is 4 community builder nights that happen around the globe, from like Brazil to Nigeria to India. Is super interesting because a lot of people are even like working together to organize those meetups. And there is a lot of things that also like are usually working on that we wanna talk about. But I think the way that those community builder nights are expanding is really like a floor for like builders, founders to just interact, not just to hear a presentation, to interact, to network, to co-build together, and just activate themselves at scale. Then for everyone that is joining the next week in Cannes, we also like hosting a builder night. And we have a bunch of like team members also like giving talks. So if you see anyone from MetaMask, make sure that you're coming and say hi. The energy is very high, and yeah, it's just exciting. And then what basically Ayush was speaking before, this synthesis hackathon happened, and we're currently judging a bit. Like, do you already have some submissions that you actually liked, Ayush, or like did you saw some? Because I
I'm
think
waiting
like we got
for
like 80
also
plus.
bot to give like the top 10 or the top submissions and then go through it. I just want to be that chill guy for this hackathon and see like how the submission goes.
Yes, actually, like it is a good idea not to kind of like being spoiled a bit and waiting for actually the second, third round. I think every time, every kind of like due diligence round, also bot is getting more kind of like nitty gritty on actually like on code and if it's matching like specific use case. So it would be good because normally when we're juggling from like ETH Global to online hackathons, it's always like thousand submission. And I think. It would be interesting optimization, let's say that, right? But the use case also like were very exciting. I think like I saw some kind of like agent basically like building limits, account recoveries, leveraging like delegation and permission is super interesting. The use case that you can actually build. I'm
There's some
excited
other
also to see
updates
like
as well, I
multi-chain.
guess, right?
Yeah.
Like CoinFlow launched the DCA feature this week. So
Yes.
like if anyone wants to go and try out, they can also like have a agent manage their DCA for them, which is using the delegations as well. So if anyone wants to try out, they
Yes.
can try it out.
Yes, big shout out to the Confellow team. I think we had them already before. I think they were launching on a live stream, but I think we should definitely like ask Jacob and the team to actually join us again and give us like a quick update on what's happening.
For sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's dive in. These were some kind of like picture of the past community builder nights. It's very interesting. I think like now since January there has been like 50 plus community builder night happening around the world, and they're all in Luma. And I think the cool thing is that everybody's get to some community builder nights. They're like wanna organize their own meetup and I think it's great. Like again, like our doors are always open. We have bunch of also like resources and the know-how guides in Builder Hub, especially for like not just ambassador but for everyone. So always feel free to check this out. This is a QR code that you can actually like check out more about community builder nights if you're also interested in running either your own meetups or just seeing if there is a community builder night happening in your city in the next months. I think if it's not, maybe it's a good opportunity to organize one. And I think that's the power of a community and just advocating for the space. Okay, so let's invite now to our next session one-shot delegation API. So let's have, let me share, let's bring up Todd, Charlie, and Matthew on stage. So, guys, it's an honor to have you guys on this live stream this month. Welcome. You want to quickly introduce yourself before we're kicking this off?
Morning, guys. My name's Todd, one of the co-founders of One Shot, and I got my two co-founders on here with me, Charlie and Matt.
Exciting.
Hey, Charlie, Matt, can you hear us? They might not be able to hear us.
It's good that we actually have everyone on stage here. Your mic actually like sounds great, Todd. Okay, let's dive in. You want to quickly screen screen share your
Let's
screen?
do
Let
it.
me know
Let's
when you
jump into it. So we made
Sounds good.
some slides for this morning, and pretty short slide deck. And then hopefully we can do a quick demo of some of the things that we've done with the MetaMask delegation framework. And then maybe we can get into a little discussion on some of the technology that we're doing. So one-shot API. So for people watching who maybe don't know everything about MetaMask's delegation framework and their EIP 7710 spec that the MetaMask wallet team developed, just some quick background because it'll kind of help everybody understand what one-shot API is doing. So 7710 is a specification, and it enables me to sign a cryptographic permission slip, and I can give it to like Ayush, and Ayush can use that to run transactions on my behalf in like a setting where I could say, look, you can move my USDC out of my wallet into Aave if the yield is high enough. And if the yield drops below, then you can move it back out into my wallet. It lets you do things like that, so like intents. So MetaMask Delegation Framework is the implementation of the 7710 spec, and the delegation framework is what One-Shot API is built around, essentially. And, hopefully I can convince you this at the end with our quick demo, but I think that like the EIP 7702 stateless delegator, which is one of the wallets in the MetaMask delegation framework, this plus WebAuthn PRF extensions. If you don't know what that is, you should Google WebAuthn PRF. That plus PRF extension is kind of like the account abstraction in game. Like you can make applications and agents where the crypto is like 100% invisible while still being 100% non-custodial. And so like a visual aid here, when you're using delegations, for people watching, there's a kind of a 3-step process. Your app or your agent, which is the delegator, is going to sign the delegation. That delegation, little data blob needs to be stored somewhere so that I can use it when I need it. And then the delegate is going to redeem it on chain. And this is kind of what the redeeming process looks like. And so One-Shot API really helps facilitate steps 2 and 3 here. Like that's kind of where we're sitting and adding value. So at the end of the day, One-Shot API is a high throughput programmable relayer for EIP 7710 and 7702. Like that's kind of what our product is. And so the things that it offers are delegation storage. So when my app has a user sign the delegation, I need to put it somewhere. One-Shot API makes it really easy to store those. Then when you need to execute a transaction on a user's behalf, whether they're online or not, One-Shot API lets you do automatic injection of the delegation into the transaction when the transaction is taking place. We have some more advanced, kind of sophisticated things around MetaMask delegations, like redelegation. So let's say you're running to prepare for like potentially high volume traffic on your app. Well, your user can sign a delegation for one of your server wallets in One-Shot API, but then you can redelegate it to other server wallets in your pool so that you're not single thread processing transactions through a single server wallet. You can parallelize things with redelegations. And then lastly, it makes it really easy to build apps around delegation framework. Like we abstract a lot of the like more complex learning curve stuff away. So really all you got to do is import like what functions is your app going to need to run, like on chain, and you just call execute as delegator. Or if you're going to be doing batches, like maybe if your application wants to do multiple transactions in a single call, you can do execute batch as delegator, and we handle hitting the delegation framework, singleton entry point. We handle all that for you. And then lastly, like you can make really snappy apps where like, you get webhooks back to your agent or app, so you don't have to wait around and poll for what's happening. And we really built One-Shot API to let people leverage AI development tools. Like nobody nowadays wants to read documentation on how to use stuff anymore. They pretty much want to, log in the cursor or replit and say like, make no mistakes. So One-Shot API, you can connect it to your favorite agentic coding environment using our MCP server. We have skills associated with it for how to do certain usage patterns with MetaMask delegations. And then kind of uniquely with us, we have a feature called One-Shot Prompts, which is a smart contract skills library that anybody can publish to. So let's say you built a smart contract protocol. Okay, you published it on one of the EVM chains that we support and the delegation framework supports. If you verify it, you can import it into One-Shot API, basically add documentation to it, and then publish it and let anybody else use it. And if they connect One-Shot API with the MCP server to Cursor or Replit, it'll know how to use your smart contracts to help them build new apps on top of your protocol. So that's kind of unique. I'm going to share these slides after, so I got a video here of like how you would do all that, connecting it using the skills. So coming soon, X402 is super hot right now. It's been super hot for a few months. We're going to support the 7710 delegation version of X402 that came out from the MetaMask team recently. And I actually called that a few months ago. I don't know if Ayush remembers or not, but around September, I was like, maybe we should put the delegations in the X402 header. I called that way before y'all announced that. But X402 facilitator for 7710 is going to be neat because it'll let you do subscriptions, platform credit, like way more sophisticated things with agentic payments than what is currently available with the 3009 authorizations, which are very vanilla, not as programmable. And then I was going to do a really short demo of one-shot pay just to show people what's possible with delegation framework and with one-shot API as the relayer technology. So this will only take about a minute. But one-shot
live demos.
Yeah, it's a live demo. This is not recorded, so who knows what's going to happen. But One-Shot Pay is a stablecoin only wallet built on the MetaMask delegation framework. It pretty much only lets people use USDC on the base network to keep it super simple. But it's simple enough that a normie, could use it. And one of the things that we're experimenting with it is agentic wallets. And so we built an agentic wallet feature into it that you can inject into kind of challenging environments where normally you wouldn't be able to inject a signing key. And so we can give agents allowances, but still being 100% non-custodial. So I've got a $320 in here. I don't want to hand over $320 to an agent that's running on some third-party server. I want to use MetaMask delegations to have like full control over the agent budget. So a user can come in here and say, let's go to agent account, let's make a new one. And using the caveat enforcers of MetaMask delegation framework, I can say things like, well, let's max day spend, let's say $10 a day. I don't want my agent spending more than $10 a day. I don't want them spending more than $100 in the lifetime of this budget. And I don't want the agent to bring my balance below, let's say 150. And when they're making calls to stuff, don't spend more than $1 per call, because maybe you're going to be buying lots of like small things. And so when we create this budget, what we were doing is we were signing a MetaMask delegation under the hood. And so what happened there, I just signed a MetaMask delegation, but I did it with a key derived from the WebAuthn PRF that's supported by like all major browsers now. And so that's what I mean by like 7702 stateless delegator plus WebAuthn PRF is kind of like the account extraction in-game. I just did a lot of crypto there, and you didn't see hardly any crypto show up. It was just a standard Web 2 UX experience. And now I can inject this into an agentic environment. Standard auth. Choose which budget I want to connect to it. And then if I want to, pay for something, I can come into one of my agent conversations, and I've got this dummy X402 resource here that I'm going to pay for. I can say use one-shot pay to make a payment to that resource. And now from my master wallet where I have all my money, the product is going to use one-shot API to relay money out of the master account into a holding account that can then be signed by a hotkey and moved to the X402 resource that's like asking for money. All being fully non-custodial. The agent cannot run off with more money then it was allowed to spend. And so it said the transaction went through. And then the nice thing about one-shot pay is you can come in here and say, well, there's the payment. Why did it do it? Agent has to give justification for it. But these are the kinds of things that you can build with this powerful delegation framework account abstraction on top of one-shot API as the relaying technology. And you don't have to worry about is this going to work if I get popular, right? Like if I get lots of users, is it going to be able to handle the scale? One-shot API is built to handle the relaying scale for you. So you don't have to be so nervous about vibe coding slop. The important part, the core infrastructure is handled for you. And so that was the live demo. Everything actually worked. That was the slides. Maybe we can get into a little conversation about where this kind of technology is going, if that's interesting.
Thank you so much for the wonderful demo. It was quite nice to see how the whole agentic delegation worked. I think it would be pretty interesting to have 7.1.5 advanced permissions into one-shot API as well. So if agents wants to use funds directly from the MetaMask wallet, they would be able to use it directly.
I'm gonna do a video for this we have a tutorial channel, and that's on my to-do list, is to show you how you could also store the 7715 delegations that you get from MetaMask. Those will store also actually in the one-shot API storage feature, so that you can redeem those at execution time with with whatever your agent or your app is doing. It'll also work with 7715.
Yeah, because underneath 7715, the permission context is basically encoded delegation, so you can decode your context and store it as a delegation.
Yeah, the interoperability is very nice there.
Yeah, pretty good to see that feature soon as well. I'm excited about the 7.10 support for X402 as well, because as of now, even though schema has been merged for X402, we don't have any facilitators out that support 7.10, right? So it would be good to see how it competes with MPP as well.
Yeah, so that was I saw some thread on X recently, talking about MPP, hyping MPP for streaming payments, and it was, they were talking about it, MPP being a kind of state channel. I don't know too much about MPP. I haven't studied it as much as X402. But what they were saying, I was like, wow, the 7710 extension to X402, everything that you're saying, you can do this and probably more, because the 7710 extension is fully programmable. You could say only let the remote resource pull my payment if certain conditions are met, which is that's a totally different design space than what original X402 was, which was assign the authorization and you have a time window to redeem it. With the delegations, you can put conditions on it. You could maybe say you can only redeem this payment if you've already given me, some kind of NFT access token, put conditionals on it.
And that's because we have the post-execution hooks with the enforcers, which makes it possible to do that. And I think it was also Bot who was talking about the MPP state channels and how X402 and 7.10 can be the game changer and competition with the MPP.
Yeah, Charlie and I worked on old school state channels 5 years ago or so, maybe longer than that. And number one, the chains were much more expensive back. Ethereum was much more expensive to run on back then, and so state channels were much more popular. Throughput of the networks was not what it is today. But those early state channel approaches were super complicated, and running them reliably was iffy at best. So this is a delegation is I think superior to what we were trying to do in the past with traditional state channel payments.
Completely makes sense. Also, you might want to also share about the N10 workflows that you created for automation. I think it was for the Uniswap DCA, right?
Say that one again. Which one?
You like there was also like one-shot API workflows for N8N, right?
Oh,
Where you
yes.
can,
Right. So,
Yeah, we kind of skipped over that one. Right,
well,
in the demo, but yeah.
I briefly touched on it in the demo, but you can actually use, if anybody knows what N8N is that's watching, so it's like a workflow automation platform. We support, One-Shot API has integrations into N8N and IFTTT and Make, all popular workflow automation platforms. N8N is super hot right now. It's kind of like a Zapier killer. I mean, Zapier is probably toast given the popularity and flexibility of N8N. But you can build on-chain workflows in N8N. And we also have support for delegation. So like if you build an app, that can collect delegations from users or agents or whatever, store those in One-Shot API, redeem them in a workflow that you build in N8N. So you're not restricted to just building apps in like Python or TypeScript or whatever. If you're a visual builder or a less technical creator, you can still build useful products and automations visually with something like N8N. And it works really well. I've done a lot of different workflows just because it's kind of fun to make them, and it works really nice.
Yeah, we built different bots, averaging bots, stuff like that, all implemented visually. So you're doing some serious crypto, serious non-custodial crypto with those kinds of tools. So it's available. And it's cool too, because you can use the agents to do your logic inside of those tools. So they can make complex decisions and then use the chain as one of their tools inside there with whatever you've set it up, and then applies the delegations. It's pretty nice.
That's the important thing, like for people watching, that like I really want to emphasize, because like if you're not in the weeds of the delegation framework or trying to build agents, yourself, like the really important thing to realize is like delegation framework, 7710 lets you remain 100% non-custodial while doing like Web 2 style flows. Like you don't have to have somebody be online to do useful things for them, but you can still be 100% non-custodial. Like that's super important to be non-custodial. Otherwise, if you take people's money, if you take over control of people's money, number one, that's a big psychological barrier to have to get over. Like, am I going to put like a significant amount of money into your app for a key that I don't control? Number one. And number two, let's say your app actually got popular and something happened and you lost some people's money. Like you're going to be in trouble because you built a custodial product, and you're probably going to be getting some phone calls from people you don't want to get phone calls to. It's like delegation framework is super important because you can build sophisticated, really nice user experiences and still be 100% non-custodial. That was originally what made me super fascinated by it, was the non-custodial aspect of delegation framework. That's super important.
I just want to say that I found very interesting the workflow that you presented. I think like having this N8 alternative, fully non-custodial, leveraging delegation, it's very strong. Anything else that you guys are working on that you can kind of like disclose, like what's popping in the next couple of months?
So we are gonna be working on like near future, like super near week, 2 weeks, 7710 facilitator. That should be pretty exciting to work with. We're working with some with a tier 1 wallet for relaying. Not ready to announce that yet. Hopefully announce it in the next week or two. So you might see One-Shot's logo show up in a wallet that you're have installed on your phone or your browser. And then after that, more agents. We want to do more experimentation with agents, and how you got to be able to allow normies to use crypto with ChatGPT. Like this is like a practical problem that I'm interested in right now. Experimenting with how I can easily inject money into an app, like tokenized money into an app like ChatGPT with minimal clicking around, right? This is a design problem that I think we can solve with delegation framework and some sleight of hand of API keys and headers that we're going to do a video on in the near future.
Excited. Yeah, we should definitely like have you guys in the next live stream, and yeah, excited to see also like what you're working on. But I think like it's definitely interesting what you just showed, that especially on the work streams specific. Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for coming to present, and actually like live demoing this, Todd. It's always like show a lot of courage. And yeah, thanks. Yes, awesome. And thanks Matthew and Charlie for also like passing.
Thanks guys.
Calls. Awesome. Thanks everyone. Okay, cool. It's super exciting, Yush, right? The fact that there is a lot of like leverage around the permissions and delegation with those use cases is also like creating a lot of like momentum.
Yeah, if anyone wants to start with delegation framework and Sensen 1.0, you can check out the Smart Accounts Get MetaMask by MetaMask, and you can also like build on those like delegation framework and Sensen 1.0. We'll share the link in the chat.
Nice. Yeah, we just share it. That's exciting, and I think we should do like another like live coding session on how actually to build, and yeah, or how to have your agent to build it. Okay, sounds good. So let's get to our next and last section. So before I kick it off, I just want to say. Yeah, this part is super interesting. So it happens, and there is a lot of work that happened behind the scene. So MetaMask Connect is now live. So without further ado, I want to invite and Shabazz here on the call, and we can just get kickstart. What's happening is. Are you able to take Shabazz and Adam on the call?
I'm pretty excited about the session to know what has been going on since so long for MMSDK and what are the new changes.
Oh yes. A lot of like different things happen. A lot of things on the background. A lot of like different small launches, delays, but here we are, and it's exciting. Welcome, Adam. Welcome, Shabazz, and let's get started.
Let's do it. Hi, everyone.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, you want to quickly introduce yourself first? Like that's probably very important.
We should do that.
So
that sounds good. Yeah. So I'm Adam. I run product on everything kind of dApp connection and wallet integrations, and work with a great team, and Shabazz being one of them. I'll kick it over to him while I share my screen here.
Hey, finally back to the community call after so long. I was building the thing that we are going to share today with a great team that we had, and thanks to Adam leading that front. My name is Shabazz. I lead the developer relations initiative for the wallet integration and the dApp connection. And we are so excited to share like MetaMask Connect is live.
Yes.
Let's kick it off, Adam.
Can everyone see this here?
We can see it.
Yes.
Do you see my wallet too here?
Yes, I do.
On the right, yes.
Yeah, I'll just, I'll close it. I can open it back up in a second. So what we're going to talk a lot about today is just the handshake. And obviously agents, we're talking about agents, and agents are super exciting, you know, in the space to be playing with right now, but there's still a lot of humans that use crypto, and we have to build for them as well. And this handshake is kind of the core of what I talk about a lot with the team and I think about, and we want to make this handshake as smooth as possible between dApps and MetaMask and, you know, users connecting. And there's two sides of this. There's everything that happens on the dApp side, and then there's everything that happens on the MetaMask side. And what we have had historically for the last 3 years is the MetaMask SDK. And what it did was it was a package that developers, connector libraries or developers could pull it directly, can put right on your front end. And it did all of the abstraction to talk to MetaMask in all of the different ways that we needed to talk to. So there was desktop to extension. There's desktop to the mobile app that requires a relay server. And then there's the in-app browser inside of the MetaMask mobile app, which has its own connection requirements. And then there's using a mobile browser, whether you talk about Safari or Chrome or Brave. If someone goes to say OpenSea there, they need to connect in. And this is what we call a remote connection. So a remote connection is something that initiates outside of the MetaMask mobile wallet and wants to connect in. And what makes that so particularly difficult, and I'm sure a lot of you know, but just to reiterate it, they cannot talk directly to each other. So if I go to OpenSea in Safari on my phone and I want to auth over to MetaMask Mobile, they cannot talk to each other. It's just a hard block on the operating system level, whether it's iOS or Android. And because of that, we need to create a socket server, a relay, so they could talk to each other. And yes, we could use deep links in some ways to make the connection smoother, but it can't deep link round trip to each other. So we need this socket server. And this is just a really difficult technology to get to work all together. And we've also supported the Wallet Connect protocol for since it's launched, but it was always really important for us to have a full library that abstracts all of these different connections and always makes it the highest performant it could possibly be. But the problem with the MetaMask SDK historically was it was EVM only. We had frequent UX issues with remote connections that I was just talking about. It failed to maintain internal performance SLOs, especially at times of scale when we have a lot of connections coming in. The code base over time just became difficult to maintain. As many of you know, this is what happens sometimes over time with code bases. And it was just a large package size, and we worked a lot to try to reduce this over time, but it was something that was friction for developers. So last year we got to a point where we're like, why don't we just rebuild the entire package and use a better name called MetaMask Connect? And this could be the foundational element that we can make sure we're rethinking where the MetaMask wallet is going, and some other cool stuff that we'll get to at the end of the presentation that we could bring in. So what is better about MetaMask Connect? It's a rewritten library for stable and secure connections to all MetaMask wallets and all those flows that I mentioned before. It has a completely new mobile web protocol that, as much as we've tested and try to consider every use case, it's near 100% success for any time someone wants to connect on your dApp that's using this new mobile web protocol. That was rebuilt from the ground up. All of the code in the mobile app that it speaks to. There's been an incredible amount of performance updates in the mobile app across the board that we've been able to take benefit from. The way that, especially cold starts, whenever, like if I go to OpenSea and my MetaMask is closed and I don't have it loaded into context or backgrounded, that's just, there was so many hoops that these connections just have to go through, and we just like streamlined the whole thing and made it as a straight line as possible. So if there's a connection being made through a QR code or from a remote app, it could just go right in to MetaMask and pop right up and be able to connect and stay connected. So really excited about that. And then it's multi-chain. So what did we do last year? We added multi-chain to MetaMask, but MetaMask Connect was all EVM. So we needed a way, and we really thought about this. We were saying, okay, now we have this new multi-chain API that we built internally that's supporting the new wallet that could do EVM and Solana and Bitcoin and Tron and the other ones that we're working on bringing to the wallet. How do we make it really easy for developers? So this is one of the really exciting things. We made a package for every one of you out there. If you're an EVM only application, we have a package for you. If you're a Solana only application and what you're building, we have a package just for you. If you're on WAGMI, We have a package just for you. But now we have this new multi-chain package, which Shabazz will show you in the docs here shortly. And what this allows for is you don't have to think about providers and chains anymore. Through this new multi-chain capability in MetaMask Connect, you could just connect to everything that the user has loaded in MetaMask, and you could call any of it. You don't have to make sure that the right chain is connected to the wallet. All of that is abstracted away. It's pure multi-chain, and it's just a really, really exciting new offering that I think new dApp developers that are trying to build multi-chain, this is just a way to abstract a lot of, I'm not gonna say all the headaches, but a lot of the headaches that we're building for you, and really excited for a lot of you to play with it and give us some feedback. And then of course, significantly smaller package size. It really blows away the SLOs that we were struggling to hit before, and it's clean modular code. So we're really excited about that. And I think what we could do for just sake of time here, because there's some other stuff we want to do, is I'm just going to kick it over to Shabazz, because he could kind of show you, how the docs is structured and everything on that front. Shabazz, you want to take it over?
Yeah, sure.
How do
Okay, nice.
Okay, nice.
So if you're a developer or a dApp, and thinking like, how do you get started with MetaMask Connect? So we have you covered. We have the brand new rebranded documentation for you to cover all things about MetaMask Connect, but also I'll give you a sneak peek how and what else we have added. For example, like if you want to get started with MetaMask Connect, you just click on that particular card and you come treated with the overview of what the MetaMask Connect is all about, what Adam was talking about, right? And if you want to get into the weeds of it, like you can look through the architectures, the integration options that it provides. As Adam was saying, right? If you are a single ecosystem or you just want the EVM or Solana, we have a package for you. If you want a combination of these two, you can club it together. We have a way to do like how you do it with multiple and multiple packages together. Or else, like if you want a newer approach, a multi-chain approach, where you don't have to worry about the providers and everything works out of the box, we have a brand new package called MetaMask Connect Multi-Chain. And everything is covered here. You can take the references, but like the things what Adam was talking about in terms of especially the remote connections, like if you want to get into the details of like what are the platforms we support and like the connection method starts, where it starts, how it is connected to, everything is covered here. Feel free to take a note on this particular section, just to understand the multi-chain. What is MetaMask Connect altogether, and then the multi-chain. So quickly, like if you want to come with multi-chain, you can come here. We have a bunch of quick start with JavaScript, Node, and React Native. Most of the things are working. If you want to, because this is a brand new concept with multi-chain API, which is through the CAPE standards. And if you want to understand like the concepts, like what is scopes and what are account IDs, how it's different, things we have covered it for you. We have specific guides for sending the messages, sending the transactions, and even we have a tutorial like inbuilt, the full-fledged tutorial about the multi-chain app. We can start from the connecting, signing, and sending the transactions, and you'll see the best practices like how you can work with it. Similarly, for the EVM packages, you can because this is basically for the rewritten package from the MetaMask SDK with the the CAPE standard multi-chain support underneath it, but it just works out of the box. And if you're coming from the previous SDK, we have a dedicated guide about the migration, how you could start from there. And we have for all the there are a lot of things coming, but we have this direct support with FADME now. It's live. Same goes for Solana. We have support for Solana Framework Kit and Wallet Adapter. It just works out of the box. Again, similar style on the JavaScript, Node, and React. And if you're wondering, we have added that open this page with Claude. So the best I would say is to get started with probably one of the quick start and probably open this with Claude, GPT, or the Perplexity. I prefer Claude because it asks you a lot of questions. You can just quickly see it, get you started. It will ask you better prompts. And I just ran previously and I built the entire demo. It asked me a couple of questions back and forth. And then I just prompted the whole thing, and you have a demo here, right? We are also working to add a cursor plugin, where One-Shot API guys had shown like how you can add it to cursor through the MCP. We can do that with the similar approach, but adding it as a plugin to the cursor, so that it's very easy to get you started with like how you do a prototype on like how you get started with the the dApp, do the signing, sending transactions and everything there. And quickly, like if you want to go with the global quick start that we have, you can just come here, get started with the EVM. There are a lot of other combinations coming, but the quick thing before Adam showcased like the full-fledged app about the multi-chain, I would just want to show like how you can come play with this, connect with the SDK. We have everything covered here. You'll be able to see and transact the signing and everything, but this is just for the EVM. And I'll kick it back to. I'll give it back to
real quick. Yeah, just a few things. Just go back to the docs to call out. So that I think is important before we start talking about the other side of the handshake. As I mentioned, it was EVM. The old SDK was EVM only, and a lot of our developer docs. I remember sometime last year, Shabazz, Francesco, and a few others were on their call, and we were looking at the docs, and we realized that we saw that like non-EVM vocabulary started to sneak into the docs, and we didn't like this. We didn't feel like it was very welcoming to the ecosystem that we were starting to open. So when we rethought about the docs for MetaMask Connect and more holistically, it was very important for us to make sure that every developer, for whatever constraints and environment you're building in, could be able to find what you needed quickly. So we removed all if you find any non-EVM, let us know. We'll remove it. Maybe it snuck its way still in there. But here, if you just look at the navigation, it just speaks to how we're thinking about all of the developers on an equal footing. And that was important. And what I would recommend is play around with the multi-chain. Just, bring it into Claude or Cursor, have it create a little simple dApp and print out all the access that you have, just so you could learn like what it's capable of doing and start to build a new mental model of, I could connect to everything all at once and not have to like think about per chain and per account like synced correctly with the wallet. So excited for that abstraction and happy to play with it. But that was important, and I'm happy to take back over. We're not going to be able to.
Thanks for calling that out, Adam, because I completely forgot about this Solana input, because this is one of the feedback that we received from the Solana community, that like why the docs, especially with we had support for Solana on the wallet side, but the docs were not there and it was not welcoming for the Solana. So I hope there are more space here. We can welcome other communities as well. So glad to be working with those as well. So I'll give the sharing
back
to
over
you,
here.
Adam.
Okay, great. Can you see my screen?
Let me just pop it up. It should be.
I don't know. I think
maybe try to stop sharing and resharing.
Okay, let me do that.
I cannot see it here. There you are. Yes.
Okay, great. So now what we want to talk about is the other side of the handshake, the connection UX in the wallet. So we go back to this handshake, and MetaMask Connect is this side of the handshake. It's the brand new library that we're bringing to everyone to handle the best side of the handshake to connect with MetaMask. But there's this other side, which is for users when they connect, we want them to have a good experience connecting in the wallet through the connection flow and then managing their connected dApps in the wallet, and all the way through the ability to easily disconnect if they want to do it. And if we think about, I hinted to this earlier, but the MetaMask wallet has changed a lot, really just in the last year. It went from EVM to full multi-chain with adding Solana and Bitcoin and Tron. We've moved to BIP44 multi-chain accounts. So as you can see up here now, I have my account and I could hover and I have all of my Bitcoin, Solana, Tron, and EVM addresses right here. We removed the global network selector, so no more in the wallet are you really managing it by what network you're on. You still can, but it is not so important of a UX element that it was before. And we made just a lot of UX changes on the home screen, on other parts of both extension and mobile. If you haven't used them in the past year and you came back, and I would make sure that you upgrade your extensions if you haven't, because we are pumping out every week a new update on extension and mobile, and the teams have been cooking. But what we've heard from users and developers is the connection UX in the wallets have a lot of space to be improved. So that's what we're doing. We're in the early stages now of completely revamping the connection UX, which includes the connection flow, the connected state, how you manage the selected network for the DApp for when you are not multi-chain connected, but when you are connected, especially to EVM. How do you manage your connections and the permissions, and how do you disconnect? So one little small thing that we heard a lot was people wanted to be able to disconnect from all of their connections at once. So we added that in. If you haven't seen it, there's all this disconnect all button here. You don't have to go through each one like you used to in the past. So that's a little nice one that we added in there. But the bigger one that's not live yet, but is in the final stages.
But if they don't see it, what they do? They update the extension, right?
Yeah, you got to update the extension. Yeah, so the best way to do it, go to manage extensions and then hit this little update button right here. And it'll update all of your extensions, and you'll get the best of MetaMask. So to make sure to do that and do it frequently. Okay, where are we going here? We're going back here. Nice. So the other one, we'll come to that one next. So the other one is how to handle once you're connected. So in older versions, there used to be a globe icon right here, which all of you will see in your production versions of the MetaMask extension. If you're not connected, there's just a globe here. And if you do connect, we'll show the favicon. And if you click it, you can kind of manage it. And people have said that this is not the best UX to manage. It confuses them. So we thought about what is a good way to do it. And what we came up with was adding in a new element to the wallet that lays on top of the wallet, and you could see it down here. So what it does is, as you could scroll behind it, and it's nice and sticky on top, and the native wallet behind it, you get to manage everything. I could come here, and I could come and go to Solana, and I could look out my Solana accounts. But down here, it still says that I'm connected to OpenSea on Ethereum. And I could come here, and if I needed to force change the chain, because the DApp is still using older technology where that's important, I could do it here. I could easily click right in and get to my account and enabled networks right here on one click, and I could quickly disconnect. One click disconnect right here. And what's really nice is if I go to Hyperliquid and I'm not connected, it disappears. It gets out of the way. And that's another UX that we're pretty excited about. So it's a layer on top. Just one example of one of the many things that we're rethinking on the connection UX front. This is not like pixel perfect yet, so don't hurt us here. We're going through final designs, but from a UX perspective, excited to show this off. Just a few other things here, and if we actually come and disconnect, what we're really starting to think about next is the connection flow. So if I come in here and connect, this screen has been the UX for a long time. We have these two tabs, accounts, permissions. You could edit the accounts here. You could go over to permissions here. This is another way, entry into the account. So it's actually duplicative here. And you could also do your network permissioning here. So I know we're getting a little close to the end of time here, but this is just my call out quickly to say, if you have any opinions on this to make it better, we have done a lot of research on a lot of other wallets. We have audited all of them. We've identified patterns that we think is good. We've talked to a lot of users, but this is another call out to you developers. Please be vocal and let us know if you have any ideas. Tag Shabazz and I on Twitter or send us a DM. We'll connect with you. We'll talk with you. This is really a call to listen to your voices because we want to improve this entire UX, and would love to hear from you more on that front. So, Shabazz, if there's nothing else on this front, we could kind of wrap it up with pay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I just want to quickly show the multi-chain demo, like very quickly, because like people dApps like OpenSea, we don't have updated yet. They don't get updated with the MetaMask Connect yet. So there is a difference when connecting to a dApp. When you probably see there connecting, you got access to all the chains. Try connecting here. You will have the pixel perfect which scope or which chain you want to get connected to, and you will see that here. Probably let's do this very quickly in a minute, Adam. Ethereum, Linea, and probably. Oh yeah. I mean, it's still the legacy does solve that issue. Still.
Even if I go to WAGMI here.
Yeah. You get access to all the chains like by default, and then you'll see that the scopes are so long. But when you do it the multi-chain and then just select the scopes like Ethereum and Linea, within that permission, the thing that we are thinking to redesign and asking the community to redesign, like if you go to the permission, you'll see very very specific scopes requested, like Ethereum and Linea. That's much cleaner. But we are again asking you like where we can improve this particular thing, and even you can do this with Solana, so you can request all at once, like not one at a time. So yeah, this is the beauty of multi-chain SDK.
Yep. And once you hit connect, you have everything. You get Ethereum, you get Linea, and you have Solana all right here. And without doing anything, we could just say, I want to sign a message. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
I come over here. I want to do a personal sign, invoke, done.
And now
one connection.
Nice.
Maybe a quick question here. Like, what do you see like today? Kind of like trends of like dApps and founders like building this connection. How, like, I would like to understand and give like a kind of a visibility to everyone. So how is done today, and how is kind of like Connect playing in a role, and how people are migrating to Connect?
Shabazz. I can't see anyone. Sorry. You want to go, and then I could jump in.
Oh yeah. So what I see is that and we already thought of this approach, and that's why we have separate SDK specifically for like the EVM and Solana. If you want a single ecosystem specific, we have you covered. But if you want to, like as of today, the only combination I see in like if you want to do multi-chain, you combine these two SDK or either two different providers. And then try to listen to one provider at a time. It's not the true multi-chain. With this true like multi-chain SDK, like you just connect once, get access to all the scope at once, and you will basically initiate what the dApp demo Adam was showing. You get connected to all at once, and the dApp like it's up to the dApp like how you want to connect and call different chain. And I think the beauty of this, like we have covered all these scenarios in the doc. Like if you read through the integration options, you will see different combinations and options what a dApp and the developers can choose from. And we have you covered in terms of like the migration guide from the previous SDKs to this one. And not just that, this one. Like if you're coming from WAGMI, we have you covered. So wait for the cursor plugin. Like that will do the job very easily. You just need to plug it to cursor. And I think we have a dedicated skill to migrate from the previous SDK to the latest one, and the previous WAGMI version to the latest WAGMI version. And there are more things that we are adding. The agent era is coming, and I think we have already adapted to that, and most of our work is aligned towards. But yeah, Adam, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just think the simple way to think about it is we thought about all use cases. We thought about developers who were EVM only, WAGMI or not, and how do we have a package built for them so they could get all of the beauty of all of the MetaMask Connect performance benefits of the handshake without necessarily needing to go full multi-chain. And we've done a lot of the behind the scenes hooking up for those old methods to flow through the new methods into the wallet ourselves. So there's an easy upgrade path. And then there's developers like Uniswap who are EVM and then added Solana, right? So whenever you go to Uniswap or a lot of these other larger OG dApps, you have to connect EVM and then Solana. And they have to manage a lot of the linking. And those are going to probably stay like that because it's a big architectural change for them to go full multi-chain under the hood. But we wanted to support dApps that needed to call multiple providers individually. And then the forward looking is for new developers or developers who are recently, just starting to build and want to really think about, well, I want to just be able to get access to everything through one call, through one connection, and call any method that the wallet supports. This is what we're really excited for moving forward. And hopefully that could start to drive the industry forward to using, more of a multi-chain minded approach. So hopefully that answers your question.
I think that's super helpful. I mean, that's
I just want to jump in.
Go for it, Shabazz.
Oh yeah, I just want to jump in one quick update. Like when you see about multi-chain, it's not about like EVM and the Solana. Within EVM as well, if you're working with it, you would have to do the switch chain, right? With this multi-chain SDK, I think those things are gone. You just, it's up to the dApp which chain you want to initiate the transaction on, and things will just, like, the SDK will take care of that approach as well.
By the way, I'm seeing a lot of docs those days for agent or not, but I really appreciate this docs kind of like update for like LLM integration, like the scroll down. I think that's super useful. I think like I don't know how many agents already crawling like our docs today, but I think like this will be super useful also like moving forward.
Oh,
do we have
trust
time
me, there are a lot
to talk about MetaMask Pay at all? Do I have 2 minutes?
You can, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
I
just wanted to seed this a little bit. So, obviously, we talked a lot about the handshake. We have MetaMask Connect now, which is the library to go. On the dApp side, we're going to be rolling out a lot more connection UX improvements in both extension and the mobile wallet over the coming months that we're excited about. But then what we started to think about is how, after that handshake happens, how do we start to benefit and add more features to users, to dApps that unblock friction today? And one of the, if you kind of just dream with me for a second, so imagine a world where a user lands on a dApp ready to act, but doesn't have the right token on the right chain. Today, they leave to figure out how to swap or bridge elsewhere. They may never come back. Instead, they're directed to MetaMask. They select any asset they already own, and with one click, MetaMask handles exactly what the dApp needs without breaking the flow. The transaction succeeds. The user continues with their journey. And this is something that we're internally calling MetaMask Pay, which is, and I think maybe think about the Hyperliquid example. You go to Hyperliquid, you connect MetaMask, and then it says, welcome, you need to fund your perps wallet with USDC and Arbitrum. And you're like, well, I don't have USDC and Arbitrum. I have ETH on mainnet. And for a lot of people, they could leave and swap it and come back, but it still requires you to leave. And as a dApp owner, I don't want people to leave once they're there. And they might get distracted. They may have a problem if someone's not, understanding what Arbitrum is, but they want to start executing perps. Or with MetaMask Pay, the dApp could just call a single capability in the wallet that we've helped authored. And if this capability returns, most wallets will return no, but in the near future, MetaMask will start to return yes. And if when MetaMask returns yes, all the dApp needs to do is still send through the same transaction that the user wants to execute with a few parameters of how much, like what token, address, and how much. And we're able to do the full abstraction and orchestration under the hood. So the user could land in MetaMask. And if I wanted to do $1,000 into my Hyperliquid perps account and I only have ETH on mainnet, I could just select Ethereum on mainnet, one click, and everything will happen. And then the token will get into that wallet. Hyperliquid will be happy. The user will be happy. And, as MetaMask, we're happy because we're giving some nice one-click functionality without having to leave. So we have been, if you have used perps or prediction markets on mobile and you've funded your wallet there, you actually are already using MetaMask Pay in the wallet experience. And now what we're doing is starting to open it up for developers to play with. So if this is something that interests you, that can unblock a really, friction UX that you have, reach out. We're going to start rolling this out to developers within the next few weeks. We're just putting kind of the final touches on the V1 on our side. It's not perfect, but it's working, and we'd like to work with some developers to smooth it out. So a little nice, exciting nugget at the end here after all of the stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah, when you say about the the perps funding demo, and you talked about the wallet, is it the extension or the mobile? One can try and see.
It'll be both. We're going to start with actually for dApps, we're going to start with extension because that's where we see more of the volume for this specific problem. But we want to bring it to extension and mobile.
And as of today, they can see this on
mobile. Yeah. So if you go, I can't share my screen as easily on mobile, but if you go to the MetaMask mobile app where we already have prediction markets and Hyperliquid powered perps live, just if you go to add funds, you could go through a flow that allows you to input how much you want to add and any asset that you have in that account, and you could bridge it over. Where we could take this and where I get really excited, and this I promise is the last point, is right now out of the gate MetaMask Pay will be you have enough funds in another token on another chain in that same wallet that you want to move over. That's V1. That's nice. But what if I have that ETH mainnet in another account that I haven't connected to the dApp, but the wallet knows about it? So I could have, like, through MetaMask Pay, calling that capability, if I only connect my first wallet, if I have the funds that I want to use in another wallet, in the wallet, I could actually select those funds and the MetaMask could do all of the work for me to orchestrate moving funds in a separate wallet. What if I have 3 tokens that I want to string together to get into that asset? I could do that. What if I have it on Solana or Bitcoin? I could pull for that. What if I have money in fiat in my Chase account? I want to be able to be like, yes, just onboard money from fiat directly into this token. I think that all of these things are technically possible, and I get pretty excited about getting to that point. So that's a bit of glimpse into the future of what we're thinking, where I think the wallet would be a really good place to do this for users and for developers. So pretty excited about it. And again, please reach out if you'd like to jam with us.
Yeah, we're running out of time. We wanted to show the demo, but probably hopefully next time. And these are not just the things that we are working on. There are many things that we are working on, improving the UX and so many stuff. Would love to share that in the future community call.
Did we lose Francesco? He looked frozen there for a bit.
Yeah, I feel so. But yeah, if not, I can close it. Thanks everyone for joining this edition of MetaMask Community Call. I think we unpacked a lot of things about Ayush talking about agents and everything about 7710 and how the X402 is changing with MVP. The One-Shot team has showcased like what's the true potential of MetaMask delegation toolkit, and now we call it the Smart Accounts kit. The demo was great. We want to showcase something similar. Let's see when it comes. And thanks to Adam for coming for this community call and showcasing what is MetaMask Connect. And we covered a lot. We have the new documentation which covers the latest SDK, and we have added the very support AI button. And we talked about MMPay as well. A very sneak peek of it. Can't wait to share more in the future upcoming calls. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We have Builder Hubs, we have documentation pages, we have our own social handles. Feel free to reach out and comment. If you have any questions or any feedback, we are here, we are listening. So I think that's all for the wrap up. And I think it was lovely. Thanks, Adam, for joining this session of the community call.